Hello, and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your co-host, Reynoso, here with my boy.
Soltero, what's up, guys?
How's everybody doing today? How we doing in the chat? Because I'm seeing it so active already. I'm seeing all the comments. I'm seeing all the Madrid fans that are here in attendance, showing themselves out, talking their shit, and rightfully so. Because I had mentioned yesterday, if Real Madrid pulls off a victory at the Etihad, however they do it, it's going to be a historic result. And ultimately, that's what it is, man. Madrid is in the semifinals of the Champions League.
Winning on penalties, the legend of Lunin was born today, April 17th, 2024.
The baby was born.
The birth of Lunin, baby, for all of Real Madrid fans, getting two big stops in this penalty shootout. One of them, a stinker from Bernardo Silva. Maybe we talk about that a little bit more in depth. We got a lot to talk about. And then a second really good stop against Mateo Kovacic, ultimately being the difference to get Madrid through to the semifinals.
To the semifinals, absolutely. In a game that had so many important turning points. A game that had so many great matchups with Kyle Walker showing up in this match, going toe-to-toe with Vinny Jr. and Grealish going toe-to-toe with Carvajal. I mean, let's address initial reactions, initial comments, because for me personally,
go ahead.
Just seeing this scoreline, here's what I have to say about this. I know it might sound like I'm salty. It might sound like I'm coming from a place of hate, and I'm really not. I'm really trying to watch the game from a objective point of view. I have no stake in this. I'm no fan of either team.
Right.
But I do feel that the better team lost today. I think the better team lost today. And the thing is, I think most Madrid fans would actually agree with me if they see truth. And the way that this match played out, bro, Manchester City had so many chances to put the match away, and ultimately they did not come through because you know why? The one thing that Real Madrid did do well today was show that greatness, show that football heritage that only they, Real Madrid, can tap into. And that's what we saw happen in extra time and then the penalty shootout guiding them to this victory. But I will say, I just don't feel like the best team ended up as victors today.
Yeah, this was an incredibly gritty match. You know, there was nothing truly concrete. The goal that Manchester City got when they were up against it, needing a goal to tie the game, ultimately was a bit of a bobble after a Jeremy Doku shot. De Bruyne puts it away beautifully, roofs it past Lunin. But beyond that, man, it was all Manchester City, as you were saying, but just nothing concrete. But I do have to say, I have never seen Real Madrid defend as much as they did today. There was a moment, like in the 75th minute, when we both were like, oh shit, we forgot Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Jude fucking Bellingham were on the pitch because they barely touched the ball. We're talking about the mighty Real Madrid, one of the best front three in Europe, and they could barely get a nick at the ball. That's how Madrid won today, though. And the thing is, there's no controversy. And I give Madrid their full credit here because the one thing that they did do exceptionally well today was defend. So I give it to them. They did earn it that way.
You're right. Because if you look at the last game, all three goals from Manchester City came from outside the box. And one thing that I noticed today, bro, every time there was a sliver of space outside the box for Rodri, for Gvardiol, for Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, dude, they pressed so well, man.
Yeah.
They stopped those opportunities so well that we really didn't see any outside the box opportunities that were truly dangerous, bro. And so once they couldn't do that, they had to go look towards the wings where fucking Jack Grealish was so involved today.
Oh my goodness.
And Bernardo Silva, and ultimately it was Doku who was the one who was able to find the space and create some havoc, and then Kevin De Bruyne gets at the end of it through a Rudiger mistake. But you're right, the defending today was champion-esque. It was absolutely worthy of getting the victory here. So you're right, I don't want to downplay that whatsoever. I just am truly surprised that Manchester City ultimately was not able to come through, man, with the second goal.
And that's another point that I think has to be made is I do think this is on Manchester City. This is all on them. For as good and as long as Madrid defended, this is on Manchester City for not going through, bro. When you think about the goals that they conceded, half of them I thought were way too simplistic to concede in a quarterfinal setting. Going back to the first leg, where the goal that Rodrigo scored after he cooked Manuel Akanji, I thought that was so simplistic. It's Route 1 football. You can't concede a goal like that if you want to to be champions of Europe. And basically, the same exact thing happened today. How did Madrid get their goal? It was just through simple play on the right wing. Ruben Diaz refuses to get tight on Vinicius and Rodrigo over both legs because he doesn't back himself in a battle against pace. And Madrid take advantage of that. For me, Akanji and Ruben Diaz are a liability against sheer pace, and that's why they conceded 2 goals, 2 very valuable goals that if you had Kyle Walker, for example, defending in those situations, Madrid don't get those 2 goals, bro. Yeah. So I think defensively, this is on Manchester City for not going through, and then offensively, they just could not get everybody involved. Phil Foden, I thought, was all right today. Again, though, credit to Madrid for making that happen.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I don't want to look at the chat, bro. I want to maintain eye contact with you right now. I don't want to look at the chat.
Yeah.
I don't want to look. Let's look at the chat because we have some super chats that just came in. We must acknowledge the super chats, folks. To start off, we have a $10 super chat. If you could just click on that for me, please. From Osvaldo Renteria, $10. That's all he sent. Thank you, bro.
Thank you,
so much, man. Thank you. That really helps with the pain. $2 from Mateo Pegasus, one of our favorites. Mia San Mia, we aren't supposed to make it this far. I mean, yeah, this is giving me shades of that incredible Madrid run that they went on a few years ago when people doubted them every single stage and they just proved all those people wrong. This time it hasn't been like that, but in this match specifically, they were the underdogs. And once again, man, they prove people, and more specifically, the give and go wrong.
Yeah.
B Torres 5X says, don't ever disrespect Bayern. Love the pod, boys. We will talk about Bayern
about that
very, very soon. Let me get the chat right here in front of you so you can see it, Salts. And then Joel Alvarado sends $2. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Hector Uribe, $5. 11 likes on this comment. Back-to-back Champions Leagues are only meant for the kings of Europe. Both of you should go to Madrid and apologize. A la Madrid. Now, this one's interesting because I'm already seeing so many shouts for apology letters. I'm seeing the shouts for trips to Madrid. We acknowledge this because I remember last year you said you would write a 10-page apology letter if Real Madrid won that matchup. But this time you decided to switch it up going into his match because...
Wait, what are we talking about here?
When I asked if you would write an apology letter if Madrid would win this time around, you said no because this time it's actually much more close.
Oh, it's way more close. Yeah. And I knew that going into this whole tie, not even going into the second leg, going into this first leg, I considered this matchup to be completely different compared to last year because Madrid have progressed a lot over the last 12 months. I knew this was going to be a different game. Honestly, though, I did not expect Madrid to defend so well, though. So I will give them that.
Rudiger was fucking incredible today. Nacho even stepped up.
Nacho was good.
Carvajal, man, absolute masterclass. Yeah. Damn near dying on the pitch for his team. And San Lunen turning into fucking prime Casillas in the penalty shootout. Shout out to Madrid and how they defended. Let's keep looking at some of these super chats. Eduard Flores and Sharon KT sent us some super chats. Thank you so much, guys. That's all love. Thank you guys so much. Luis Melo, $5. I was in class watching the Man City game and I couldn't really see the penalties, but after I saw the result, I was shocked and heartbroken. Hey, shout out for prioritizing your education over this football match, my friend. That's actually very respectable, man.
Absolutely.
Wilkie said that $5 says the quarterfinals was thriller. It really was, man. For it to end like this, I honestly am surprised that this was the first penalty shootout that we've seen so far in the Champions League quarterfinals because they were all so tight. They were all so intense.
Yes.
And it was this one that ended up going to penalties with Real Madrid winning. Adolfo, $5. Guys, thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for the love so far. I absolutely appreciate it. Love the pod, boys. A la Madrid. These Madrid fans are celebrating, and rightfully they should because with this victory, man, I think they're the favorites for the title now.
Madrid?
Yeah. They're the favorites in my opinion.
Favorites, I think you could definitely say that. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, though, right?
No.
But favorites out of the remaining teams, you could definitely say they're the most informed. Absolutely, yeah.
Let's go up. Let's see what we got. Eduardo Vaz 21 says, I love your channel. The community you guys are building, and especially you guys. But you guys are jinx. Y'all betted on Barca and lost, Arsenal and lost, Man City and lost. I mean, he's got a point here. Let's look at the matchups, and that's football. But let's look at the matchups. We remember technically we betted on PSG, so that one I would readjust because if you go back to our Champions League preview, we did go with PSG. We switched, but hey, it's the initial preview. It's the initial prediction that counts on this one. Arsenal, you're right, absolutely. And Manchester City losing on penalties. I mean, bro, that's football. That is football, man. These are tough games to predict. I bet there's no one out there that actually got all 4 games correctly predicted because these games are just back and forth. It is so close. I'm not going to lose my mind over that. But thank you so much for the love, bro. For real, thank you.
And let's also remember, De Bruyne, after scoring her first goal, had a really open opportunity where the ball kind of found its way to him at the top of the box. He's wide open for it. Still like a good, 14, 15 yards out, but he ends up just putting it over the bar. It was a really clear-cut opportunity for De Bruyne. And you thought that he would put it away to make it two goals to Manchester City, but he just couldn't. Those are the margins, though. If you can't finish those chances, there is the possibility you get punished for them. That's exactly what happened in penalties.
Yeah, they really did. But for me, it's that Bernardo Silva penalty that really bothers me.
Yeah.
That really bothers me that he approached it that way, and that had he scored that, I think the momentum in the penalty shootout would have been much different. But he stunk it, bro. He stunk it. And then Kovacic, likewise, shooting a really predictable penalty. B. Torres, $2 says, where are all my Arsenal loser fans at? We're going to talk about Arsenal in a second because they also are going to get these words, man. Daniel Lizarraga, one of my favorite names to say. Thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Thank you. Reynoso and Soltero, you both have to write an apology letter to my Bayern Munich. And Arsenal will always be that small club everyone feels bad for. I mean, it's facts on the Arsenal topic. On the Bayern thing, I'm not apologizing to Bayern, bro. They've won so much. Y'all are fine. Y'all don't need our apology, man. Y'all don't need it whatsoever. Joel Alvarado, $5. He says, I wasn't sure if I watched Real Madrid or Prime Atletico. What a masterclass in the back.
Yeah, an absolute masterclass at the back. It was that classic Manchester City probing, though, where they don't necessarily like to penetrate as much because they want a lot of players behind the action. And Madrid were ready for it. They were completely ready for that type of approach from Manchester City. Manchester City tried to throw everything at them, but they just could not break that back line. Again, you already said it, Carvajal, Rudiger, Nacho, they were all phenomenal today.
Yeah, incredible performance. And bro, are we going to see their Klassiker in the final? Says Sagar Super Chat. We were talking about this yesterday, man. Like, that actually is in the works. It's crazy. And once it's the semifinals, anything can happen. Yeah. It really can. Like, there are favorites going into these matches, but dude, if we see an all-German final, then I'm all for it. Here's my only criteria. If one of the German teams goes through, then I want the other one to go through. Only under that circumstance. If Bayern Munich finds a way to defeat Real Madrid, then I'll be rooting for Dortmund over PSG and vice versa. But if Real Madrid just blows out Bayern, there's no need to have Dortmund in that final. No disrespect. But yes, let's continue talking. What else are you guys seeing? What are you guys saying? You guys can finally stop sucking Guardiola's dick now, says Tony Williams. There's one thing to point out about the Madrid fans in the chat is that in the time that we've had the podcast, this is the first time that we've ever been wrong about Real Madrid, because we were the ones that were actually spewing the Manchester City truth last year before everyone else kind of got on that hype train of Manchester City being the team to watch. We were the ones talking about Manchester City will trump Real Madrid. There's a shift happening in the Champions League, and they had to live through that, these Madrid fans. And finally, they are having their moment, and props to them. They're enjoying it because this chat is fucking active, man.
Yeah, it's a good day to be a Real Madrid fan, for sure. Again, just a defensive masterclass, and winning on penalties, bro, like, it's huge, especially considering you were on the road at the Etihad where there was a good 45 minutes where Madrid couldn't touch the ball. Like, the first half was good for Real Madrid. Honestly, the first 20 minutes, there was a little bit of ebb and flow where Madrid would get on the ball. They would actually disrupt play in the midfield and attack. They would find Vinicius. They would find Rodrigo through really good play from Camavinga and Valverde. But that died in the second half. There was nothing offensively going for Real Madrid in that second half.
And that's why I'm not too I want to give Real Madrid their credit, but they got dominated today for certain parts of the match, man. And there were moments where this thing could have flipped completely, and Manchester City, had they finished their chances off, are winning this game 2-1, 3-1, and they're through to the semifinals, man. Yeah. The margins were so small. That's why I give props to Real Madrid for somehow surviving that onslaught, which is the toughest onslaught to survive. But, man, this really could have gone either way is my whole purpose of this debate here. They could have gone either way.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the result is a draw. There was not an actual winner here. Madrid just go through on penalties. They didn't beat Manchester City, per se.
We got a few more super chats. What are we saying here? What do we got? What are we seeing? What do we have? We have Alan Soltero, your cousin, once again.
My boy Alan.
$10 says Haaland is not defending his case of going MIA in important matches, a la Madrid. I mean, you're talking to the number one Haaland hate watcher as of now, bro. I was watching him this whole match, and once again, tough to see him make an impact. Almost he hit the post, though. He hit the post on one.
It was a good header. It was a good header.
But after a while, he was kind of invisible once again. So, yeah, I agree with you a little bit, man. He's not helping his case by another performance that is of that level.
Yeah, it also is interesting, though, because unlike last year, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City is way less likely to send the ball into the box. They used to cross a lot more often. Now they've gone back to their traditional ways of trying to open up defenses with the ball on the ground. And that's never going to help Erling Haaland. And also another thing, when you have an elite defender like Antonio Rudiger, Haaland's going to see even less of the ball. You add those two factors together, I think it makes sense that Haaland goes, let's say, missing in these games. But I don't know if I say that because of that, Haaland's a bad player. I'm not going to go there yet.
That's not where I'm going.
I'm not going there yet. Maybe another year of this, if Haaland just cannot figure this out, then I'll start saying that. But, I mean, Haaland still scores a lot of goals. Yeah. He's still an incredible finisher. I need way more time to assess before I start saying Haaland's a bad player.
I don't think bad players where people are going maybe just doesn't have that clutch gene in big moments. Important matches when he's game planned against. No, but that's when it shows.
I think it's tough though, considering the way City are playing right now. I think they're definitely relying way more on Foden than they ever have before, which is not a bad thing. It's working, but also Kevin De Bruyne. So think about how they used Jack Grealish today. Grealish crossed it like one time.
Yeah.
How is Haaland expected to find the ball if Manchester City's not really promoting his style of play?
Yeah, that's true. What are we having here? We have some more super chats. Let's look at these super chats. What do we got? My goodness, you guys are so active. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Alfred Ferdinand says, do y'all think Pep's 2011 Barca would have broken Madrid's gridlock defense we saw today? That's a great word, gridlock defense, man, because they were pinned into their spots. What do you think? Would prime Barca have been able to break it today?
Absolutely. Their flow was one of the best of all time. I mean, Xavi Iniesta, first of all, orchestrating the midfield, but if they can't find anything centrally, you go out to Pedro or David Villa, and then you still have Lionel Messi to create even more havoc. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that team definitely would have broken any defense. Prime 2011 Barcelona was something else. And actually, I think today we saw why Manchester City just aren't as effective offensively as they were last year with the absence of Ilkay Gundogan. Yeah. I think it really showed today because obviously, when he was there at Manchester City, his fluidity in the midfield was unstoppable. If you were a defense, you never quite knew where Gundogan was going to pop up. Could he pop up in the box? Was he going to probe in and around the box and send in really nice balls over the top? Or was he going to feed from a deep position? Gundogan was everywhere when he was at Manchester City. You don't have that anymore. Obviously, he's now at Barcelona, but no other midfielder for Manchester City has stepped up in that Gundogan role. So there's way less fluidity in the midfield, De Bruyne coming off of an injury, and I think Manchester City become way more predictable now offensively.
Yeah, man. Prime Barca in this game would have been fucking incredible, man. I wish you could have seen it because this Real Madrid team is very, very good. But I do think they would have found a way to break it, man. Yeah. They really would because they love playing in those little gaps. Yeah. That tightness, they thrive in it. And it would have just been incredible to see. We have a few more super chats, but guys, please like the stream. Like the stream because we still have to talk about a potential bottle job and Arsenal losing to Bayern Munich. We're going to get to that very soon because I know there's Bayern Munich fans that are waiting for our thoughts, Arsenal fans as well, but we have a few more super chats before we get there. Angel Bautista sends us $5 that goes to maybe getting us better lighting, maybe getting us some better jerseys, maybe to buying us a Real Madrid jersey perhaps because that's something we don't own actually.
Yeah, true.
Angel Bautista says, I don't understand why you went for Arsenal the past 2 seasons. We have seen in big games, they are cowards. They are an elite team until it matters. I mean, you're not wrong.
Not wrong. Yeah, I can't disagree with that statement whatsoever.
After today's result, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I thought there'd be that chance. I thought there'd be that opportunity for Arsenal to finally mature themselves in big matches. We're going to get to it, but I think what we saw today really emphasizes what my boy just said.
Yep.
Mateo Pegasus, $2. Is there Premier League? Is the Premier League the Farmers League? Fuck, man. I mean, we have one La Liga team, 2 German teams, and 1 French team in the semis. No English teams. That is stark, man.
That really is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, penalty shootout. It's a coin flip.
Yeah. Well, I will say the other two Prem teams that were in the Champions League were absolute ass.
Yeah,
Manchester
Newcastle
United
was
and
terrible,
Newcastle.
and Manchester
If
were
you
terrible.
had a Liverpool this year, if you had fucking Tottenham, Aston Villa, I think there's a better likelihood that one of them make it into the semifinals. It's one of the reasons why I don't really get into the conversation of like, oh, La Liga dominates or Serie A dominates based off of knockout round competitions, because you get results like these where no English team is in the semis. But I think we all know, we all see the quality that the Prem has. It's definitely not the Farmers League, but I'm down for the jokes. Santi, $5. Guardiola being stubborn and not making changes when needed costs him big time. Julian Alvarez is talent wasted. What do you think about the subs that Guardiola made today, bringing on Kovacic, John Stones, and then Alvarez and Doku?
It is true, though, because we saw the impact that Jeremy Doku had. It was immediate, and it was incredibly impactful. The problem is that Doku only had like 15, 20 minutes to operate. Imagine if he had put him on at the 60th minute mark. Grealish, for as much on the ball as he was today and for as good as he just wasn't quite doing it. He wasn't beating Dani Carvajal. Carvajal honestly won that battle today. I think that was actually very clear. Doku should have came on earlier. You think about a guy like Alvarez. Obviously, Haaland's not cutting it by the 60, 70 minute. Bring on Julian Alvarez. Why wait until extra time? I agree with this. Guardiola was a bit stubborn today to make both the Doku and Alvarez changes.
Yeah, some people said that Guardiola's worst enemy is himself, because sometimes he overthinks situations or just doesn't prioritize certain players and doesn't, is a little stubborn. He is a little stubborn at times, man. I think that showed today as well, man. And those Real Madrid subs were actually really surprising, with like Modric, Lucas Vazquez having great penalties, bro, in the shootout. Outside of Modric, my fault. I forgot Modric missed his. Oh, yeah. You're right, yeah. Modric missed his, but Vazquez, I thought, stepped up big time and had a beautiful penalty. Let's look at the chat now, because we've been prioritizing super chats, but finally, let's get to just the chats that we have here. What do we see? What are you guys saying? Because I'm seeing so many comments. Zaid Iqbal says, Bernardo was a star until that penalty, and congratulations to Madrid for the UCL trophy. That is kind of how I'm feeling, man. That's how I'm feeling personally. I think now with this victory, the momentum that it's going to give Real Madrid fans and the team itself is going to be huge. If there was only away goals rule, man, City would have gone through, says Aqua Edits.
Oh, technically true, but I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
You got to win it outright. I'm actually very anti-away goal, so if anything, I'd rather Madrid go through than City win on away goals.
Yeah. Samyam Prayukerel says, y'all are just sorry. Just admit that Madrid is the GOAT. I think we've done that so many times on this pod, bro.
It sucks because it does sound like we're salty, but I mean, I still stand by the point. I think City were the better team, but Madrid just, my goodness, they dug deep and they got rewarded for that. Yeah, I'm not saying they didn't.
I think if you're a Madrid fan and you're not giving Manchester City credit for what they did, then you're greedy. I think you need to look yourself in the mirror and realize that what we saw today was Real Madrid actually got outclassed. It was just a matter of margins, and they came through because of that grit and that heritage that they have, which no other team has, because Real Madrid is the GOAT in this tournament.
Yeah, and you think about Vinicius, he got completely pocketed by Walker. Walker did not lose a single one-on-one battle against Vinicius Jr. That's insane. No other defender can do that, but that happened today. Vinicius almost always has his way, but not today. And honestly, same thing with Rodrigo. And Bellingham was very shaky for most of the match today. It was very hard for them to build up plays against this Manchester City pressure.
Yeah. Let's keep looking at this chat. What are we seeing? City-dominated football is cruel, says Simeon Leo.
Yeah. And that's how I'm taking this. Football is cruel, but that's why I watch it, bro, because I'm okay with Madrid winning because you can win with defensive shape. Atleti did it for over a decade, and they just hit on the break. Madrid basically emulated that today, and because of that, just like Atleti back in 2016, 2014, Madrid find themselves in a semifinal. It's the beauty of football, because you don't earn, or you don't deserve it just based off of offense. You have to earn it in your own way, and today it was defensively for Real Madrid.
Yeah, man, that really was one of the best defensive performances I've seen from Real Madrid in like recent memory, man. That was a really good performance. Feel bad for Kevin De Bruyne. He was amazing. Madrid and Bayern, just the bigger teams with an aura. No chance City and Arsenal, they will never have that big team aura. You could go into the aura debate because the teams with that aura were the ones that went through. So it is there for you. Alex Guerrero says City dominated, but this Madrid team has been such a good defensive team this season.
They have.
So that's showed itself today. Man, these names, I'm sorry. Adhitya Vasudevan says, if Liverpool was in the competition, how do you think they'd be doing at this stage, considering they lost 3-0 at home? I think a big part of why they lost 3-0 to Atalanta was because they underestimated their opponent. I don't think they would have done that in the Champions League. I think it's that simple. If Liverpool buckles up and plays up to their level, they're a top 4 team in the world, in my opinion. So I just think it's tough to predict how they would have done in the Champions League. I do think they would have gone far, though. Unpopular opinion, but Kyle Walker has been the best defender in the world for the past year. I'm so willing to entertain that, man.
Me
I
too.
really am, because in these big matches and even at the World Cup, he shows up for his squad.
Yeah.
Just his energy, his inspiration, and his tactical ability is so good, bro. He is so good, man. I really love watching Kyle Walker.
Dude, 100% agree. The confidence I have in Walker to win his one-on-one duels on the wing is unparalleled. I don't ever see him losing a foot race. I just don't. And I don't really have that confidence in most defenders out there, but I do in Kyle Walker.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, though, to see him be somewhat at fault in the first goal where he kept the players onside. He was the last defender defending the line, and then he missed when he swung at the ball. Rodrigo lands at his feet. Really nice shot. Saved by Ederson. Would have been a crazy save, but then he gets the rebound. So I want to give a shout out to Rodrigo for actually scoring the only Real Madrid goal in this match. Big moment for him. I saw a really good comment here. We have Eduardo Vaz with a $5 super chat. Thank you, bro. Do you guys still believe Haaland versus Mbappe is still a debate after Haaland's lack of performance in big moments, while Mbappe is clinical in front of goal? I mean, this is a question directly to me because I've been addressing this whole Champions League knockout stage run. I think it's showing itself, the levels between Mbappe and Haaland, when we talk about which player is worse when they're not showing their full talents on the pitch. I think it's clear that Haaland has less of an impact when he's off, whereas Mbappe when he's off. Mbappe, people were criticizing in that first match against Barcelona that he wasn't his best self, and he wasn't. But even then, he had 3 players on him every time he dribbled. Even then, he basically got the assist against Dembele. Haaland did nothing. He did nothing, in my opinion, and was ghosted in these 2 big matches outside of hitting the post one time. I think the difference is so clear, and I'd love to know in the chat, what do you guys think? Haaland or Mbappe? Let's do a poll right here. Haaland or Mbappe after these quarterfinal matchups. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the better player? Haaland with Haaland H-A-A 2 A's.
But I actually agree with Matt FSN here. I think it's more so you can't really have this debate anymore because Haaland is a victim of Pep's tactics. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Because if Haaland was, for example, on this Borussia Dortmund side, he'd be way more active in the Champions League. He'd be involved so much more than he is with this Manchester City side because the way that Manchester City approach the game now is not to give it to Haaland. So how do you expect Haaland to get into the game if he's simply not being emphasized?
Yeah, I think my argument goes beyond that, though. I'm saying Haaland at his best still isn't what Mbappe at his best is, even with the tactics behind them.
But they're completely different players. Haaland is a striker, whereas Mbappe's stylistic.
No, I agree. That's why the debate is kind of dumb. But like I said, we're going to have this podcast for a long time. People are going to ask us this question. Mm-hmm. That's why I always go with Mbappe, although the core foundation behind the argument is flawed because they're just different players. But the same could have been said for Ronaldo and Messi.
Kind of, because Ronaldo, for a lot of his career, was a winger, and he was also a ball-oriented type of player. So it made sense to compare him to Messi because they both were very comfortable on the ball, whereas Haaland is a number 9 and Mbappe is a winger. I think it's like comparing Lewandowski to, like Vinicius. You don't do that comparison.
That's
so
right.
I think, honestly, the debate should stop is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. We have Mbappe at 90%, Haaland at 10%. I think I could carry Madrid to the final. I play left on the bench. What the fuck? Haaland is a true striker with nothing else. He has no dribbling or passing.
Absolutely.
You can't compare them. One is a winger, the other is a striker.
Yeah,
I do think it's
exactly
that simple.
what I'm saying.
I do think it's that simple. Do these results make all your predictions wrong? It made 2 of them wrong, I believe. 2 of them. Santi says, as a Liverpool fan, I just hope City playing 120 minutes and losing will help them drop points in the league.
Honestly, yeah.
Damn, man. Yeah.
There's a big chance, but Liverpool still have a big game tomorrow as well. So let's not forget about that.
Yeah, they pull off a comeback, and you'll be hearing from me.
That would be crazy,
hearing from me. If they pull off a comeback, they're gonna hear from me. Matt FSN says Mbappe is a complete player overall. And Ayush Kotiyan says Mbappe to Real Madrid, dead emoji. I mean, that's kind of how I'm feeling here too. That's kind of why I was hoping Manchester City would go through, because Mbappe with Real Madrid, I mean, if that actually does happen, if they end up getting this incredible player, I think it's going to be incredibly hard for any team to match Real Madrid's offensive level. And that's kind of why I wanted Manchester City to take advantage of this weaker Real Madrid side, because I do think we're going to see an even stronger version of themselves next year.
What's crazy is that I'd say the favorites now to get to the final is PSG and Mbappe and Madrid. So there's a chance that right before Mbappe goes to Real Madrid in the summer, that he actually plays them for the fucking Champions League final. And that would be nuts.
And man. I want that. Yeah. That's the final I'm rooting for. They asked him yesterday if winning the Champions League with PSG would change his decision at all. He said no. Yeah, he said no.
He's been there so long. He's done everything that he possibly could for them. He's won damn near every League One title. He's been their top goal scorer every single season. He's trying to get them to another Champions League final. Like, what more could you ask of him? He's in his prime, and who doesn't want to go to Real Madrid in their prime when they're one of the best in Europe?
I will just say, though, if this Manchester City team couldn't take out Real Madrid, you're telling me that in a final, this PSG side is going to be the one that trumps Real Madrid solely due to Kylian Mbappe. I think it'd be one of the greatest achievements in somebody's career if Mbappe is able to trump Real Madrid in a final. I don't think it'll happen, though. Yeah. I really don't, man.
Yeah, I honestly agree, because I trust PSG's offense, and honestly, I think they could do a bit more damage than City were able to do today. But I just don't trust PSG's defense. Not against Bellingham, Rodrigo, Vinicius. I really don't. I don't think PSG have a guy like Kyle Walker to be able to shut down one of those wingers. And if you can't shut them down, they are going to get goals against you. So ultimately, if it becomes a shootout, I pick Madrid over PSG.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. The one Salvadorian says that El Salvador kick is fire. And El Salvadorian is in the chat, bro.
Hell yeah, brother. Shout out El Salvador real
What has
quick.
happened to this fucking chat, man?
Baby.
What happened to our live streams, man? God damn, I'm playing. Shout out to you, bro. And yes, we have a Salvadorian representative here in Soltero wearing a beautiful, beautiful jersey. Abraham sends us $10. I might actually have to buy a Real Madrid jersey then. These super chats are funding our Real Madrid jersey. Didn't see the live video yesterday on Atleti and Dortmund until last night, but Soltero's face yesterday during the live looked like Reynoso's face on the live video after the Mexico versus USA game.
Yeah.
That's true, bro.
Now I know how you felt, man. Now I know how you felt.
That's facts, man.
That's crazy.
Facts. Josue Cinto says Gundogan, his loss in Barcelona. Oh, Gundogan has lost in Barcelona and former. Gundogan has lost. How do I read this, bro?
I don't know, honestly, but either way.
Gondugan, by the way.
I wonder if it's basically what I'm saying. Like, Gundogan lost with Barcelona, and also Manchester City lost too. So in a way, Gundogan lost twice, maybe something like that.
Right. Yeah, he lost twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Read a few more chats, and then we're gonna get into the Arsenal game. Rudra says Holland's prime ended before GTA 6. God damn.
I mean, low key, if Holland's prime was like just the last 2 years and it ended last year, that's nuts, bro. That's nuts.
I don't even want to consider that.
I'm not considering it yet. Not yet.
Jesse Ayala says, Soltero looks like a new person. Bro did not want to stream yesterday.
Yesterday was tough, man. I'm going to be completely honest. Today was fun, though. 2 insanely close games.
Yeah. Alstan says, I hope all the pundits still make Madrid underdogs and makes Champions League sweeter. I was saying about that, bro. From Madrid perspective, being called an underdog and winning a knockout game in the Champions League must be like a turn on. Because the way they get to just flaunt their history, their heritage, and flaunt their victory. Like, that's why this chat is so active, man. Like, I wish I was a Madrid fan. I honestly do. Because these moments must be so nice. We have a super chat from Angel Bautista. He says, you are also forgetting the manager of PSG. He is a winner. Won the treble before. Perfect man for the job. Do you know his name, man? You're not gonna mention the PSG manager's name, my friend?
I just think
Luis Enrique.
I just think PSG lost that tie against Barcelona. But the red card changed everything.
Yeah. Once again, the better team did not go through in that one.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. As salty as it sounds, I don't think PSG should be in the semis.
Yeah. But if he did it, I mean, it would be the guy to do it. Luis Enrique, a proven winner. Okay. I think it's time that we flip on over to Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. We've gotten all the Real Madrid talk out of the way. Guys, you celebrate your victory, but now, even if you're a Madrid fan, I want to hear the comments. I want to hear the banter. I want to hear the jokes on this Arsenal versus Bayern Munich matchup, and more specifically, game analysis, because we were kind of watching it on and off.
Yeah.
We weren't as keyed in as we were with that Real Madrid Man City match, but we saw the important moments. Yeah. And for the most part, man, I left disappointed seeing that Arsenal wasn't able to truly generate any dangerous opportunities, at least not consistently, to the point where Rafael Guerreiro sends in a beautiful cross in. Kimmich finds it at the end, and by the 70th minute, they're leading 1-0, and they look in full control. Yeah. Bayern Munich qualifies, proving our prediction wrong, but then also shutting down the last remaining English team in this tournament in Arsenal.
Yeah, they completely stopped Arsenal from mounting any sort of comeback. Once they got that go-ahead goal, I thought Arsenal was going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at Bayern Munich. And Arteta tried. He immediately brought on Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard, taking off Jorginho and keeping on Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard. So he threw everything at Bayern. But what's crazy is that even with those offensive additions, Bayern Munich looked even more so in control. And I think that goes back to what Bautista's comment says. Arsenal, at the end of the day, still is a small club. And when they face against greatness, when they're on the road in the Allianz Arena, I just don't think they can win. And they have proven over the last 2 years, for as good as they have been offensively, they do go ghost in big games. They really do. And I think that's what happened today. They had a great first half. I thought it was very end-to-end. Neither team could craft any sort of chance. I thought it was perfectly poised for the second half to come. But Bayern Munich took over in the second half, and Arsenal had no response. They actually got weaker. Once they went down, it was over. The class, the legacy of Bayern Munich completely took over, and Arsenal was just left with nothing at the end of it, man. So yeah, I'm very disappointed with Arsenal, but all things considered, this is how Arsenal perform in very, very big matches. If they do not score by the 45th minute, they don't score for the rest of the second half.
Yeah, you compared Arsenal's playing style as one of the sexiest in world football, and I love that comment because when they're on it, when they're flowing, it really is some of the most beautiful stuff you've ever seen. And just like a beautiful woman, man, I was charmed. I was lured in. I was tempted by that sexiness, by that attractiveness. But
who was it?
What's the one thing that could stop that connection from happening is a disruptor. A person that comes in doesn't even let that girl put on her makeup. And that's what Bayern did in this weird analogy I'm making. They didn't let Arsenal even get ready. Didn't even put that makeup. They were still putting on their outfit, bro, because they played some ugly football today. And every time I would look at the screen, Arsenal would constantly get the ball taken from them. Bayern Munich just kept intercepting all these balls. It kept just disrupting their play. Saka didn't look impactful. Martinelli didn't look impactful either. Gabriel Jesus came on, didn't do much. The only guy I really saw with any grit or any heart was Martin Odegaard, who seems to be the one guy on this team that no matter the result, no matter the context of the game, gives his absolute best, his absolute all. And I do feel that from his perspective, he must feel a little let down now, 2 years in a row from his teammates who either get in their heads or just I don't know what happens, man. But that little club, that small club mentality, I think ultimately comes at play for a lot of these guys, man. And it's truly disappointing because at some point they either overcome that or they just succumb to it. And I'm scared that it might be the latter.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it goes back to why I think we both predicted that Arsenal would edge Bayern Munich in this tie is because I thought we both had them maturing this tournament this time around. Instead of last year going quiet come March, April timeframe, instead rising to the occasion and defeating all of those demons that have been at Arsenal Football Club for the last 10 years. I thought this was finally going to end it against a very inconsistent Bayern Munich, but it just wasn't so.
That's the problem, man, is that this was their chance, dude.
This was their
chance. The worst Bayern team in the last 10 years versus the best Arsenal team in the last 10 years. Yeah. That's how simple this was. Playing at such a high level in the Prem, this really is. I think it flirts with the bottle job tagline because they had it, man. They really did have the opportunity to take advantage of a opportunity that was very favorable and that was presented to them, and they just fell short, man. They really did.
Yeah, and I do want to just add at the end of all this. I mean, they only lost by 1 goal. It's not like Bayern Munich killed them, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why if you're a Bayern Munich fan, yes, you can celebrate this, but you're going to have to play twice as good if you want to beat Real Madrid. Like, if you play the way you did against Arsenal, yeah, you might get a couple goals against Real, but you're going to get cooked. And that's why I'm ultimately not completely down if I'm supporting Arsenal here, because they did try. It's just that their best ultimately isn't good enough. And I think that's where you can be disappointed and frustrated as an Arsenal fan. But I don't think you can get too over your head if you're a Bayern Munich fan, because ultimately you basically barely beat this Arsenal side.
I see what you're saying. What do we have here in the chat? Zaid Iqbal says something related to City. Let's see. Matt Universe. Bro, when Thomas Muller makes a video on your club, you're basically finished. The fourth four says the win wasn't decisive. Angel Mijares says Bayern needs a reality check that Tuchel is driving the bus still. Will Harkin, does the Prem give these teams too much credit for what they're actually worth? If you're looking for Saka, he is in Mazraoui's pockets. Yeah, Mazraoui had a really good game today. Chapa says, I'm glad Madrid won. Y'all were hating because Atletico was ass and lost in Barca too. Hus Jaber says, Arsenal is the girl you meet at the club and then the lights turn on. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's good. Yeah.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Fernando Cruz says, Odegaard should go back to Real Madrid.
That'd be lit.
Oh, that'd be amazing, man. That'd be amazing. Great. That's a great idea, man. I wish we could just see that. Madrid won by the barest of margins. Tough luck City. Bayern ain't being Real. No way. Josue Cinto says, as a City and Barca fan, I'd rather Madrid win the UCL instead of Paris. I see Madrid winning the Champions League. Talk about Europa League. He says, as a City and Barca fan, first and foremost. Right, which one are you, my friend? I need you to pick one. And then if you're a Barca fan, why would you root for Madrid ever? Right? That's why I'm a little confused here. Why wouldn't you root for Paris Saint-Germain is my only question. The best teams ended up as victors. These two matches showed which teams had the best blend of experience, skill, and strength to pull through, demonstrating which should and would go through. I think for the Bayern-Arsenal game, yes, I wouldn't say that for the Real Madrid match, personally. Yeah. The analogy of Arsenal being a woman and then Soltero talking about Arsenal edging Bayern. Bro, what's going on?
Welcome to the Give and Go.
Welcome to the fucking show, man. Welcome to the fucking show. Ijas Dev says, Tuchel is underrated manager. Everyone says Chelsea 21 Champions League was luck, but it ain't. Tuchel might just be experiencing these big matches. Is that a narrative that's actually happening, bro?
Maybe. I need to see Bayern in the final.
Yeah.
If Bayern beat Real Madrid, then I think that's a definite conversation that needs to be had about Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
But because Madrid's going to be a hell of a test for Bayern.
Yeah. That Real Madrid, Bayern Munich semifinal, and then PSG Dortmund final. Chat, what is the final going to look like? Tell us right now, what does the final look like? No poll, just what does the final look like? Is it going to be PSG Man City, PSG Madrid? Is it going to be Dortmund Bayern Munich? Is it going to be Dortmund Madrid? That'd be a weird-ass final.
That would be nuts.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. What's it going to be, guys? What's it going to be? Tell us. Chivas versus PSG, says ASZ. Bayern versus PSG. Real versus PSG. Man, yeah, a lot of PSG Madrid is kind of how I'm feeling about it, too. That definitely has to be the favored matchup in terms of just odds, Madrid PSG. But at this point, I think anything can happen, truly. I truly do love the semifinal stage. I said it yesterday, but I'll say it again today. The semifinal of any knockout tournament in Europe is my absolute favorite because finals don't tend to live up to the either atmosphere or the ambience of not playing at home. You end up playing in a neutral stadium. You end up playing in a predetermined stadium. Semifinals are where you get to play home and away in front of your fans and in front of the opposing team fans as well. So, Real Madrid going to the Allianz Arena, I think that's already a really historic matchup that we've seen time and time again. Bayern and Real Madrid, I'm excited to see that. And then Dortmund playing in France, recreating the group stage matchup that we already saw earlier on this year, man. Cool. That's going to be really cool to see with a lot bigger stakes at hand. I love the semifinal stage of the UEFA Champions League, and I can't believe that it's starting off with a incredible quarterfinal matchups that we just saw.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the semifinals, bro. Madrid, Bayern, PSG, Dortmund. I mean, there's so many storylines. Can Mbappe get to the final, win the first Champions League for PSG after spending billions? Dortmund, can they get back to a final? Honestly, after having been to it since 2013, a repeat for them, a 10-year, 11-year break, not bad. Like, for them to have this opportunity, and considering the amount of players that they've sold over these last 11 years, for them to get themselves an opportunity to be in a final, I think is huge for this club. It's fantastic for them. And they'll have a decent chance against PSG. For Madrid, it's about continuing the legacy. And for Bayern, it's about returning to the legacy that they've had over the last decade.
Yeah, I want you to, for this next week, take some time to really consider these matchups. Think about where you're going with it, because we will release a semifinal Champions League preview video. Yeah. So, keep thinking about it. Let it simmer. I know that we just saw the results, but let's think about it for a little bit. But I do think these matchups are going to be really, really fun. Let's read a few chats here. What else do we have? Jeff Sedano says, I'll cream for Dortmund versus Bayern Munich. I think our fan base is starting to understand us.
It would be cool, though. Der Klassiker in the final, once again, would be awesome. Yeah. Because the idea that Dortmund could get revenge. And what's crazy is that, considering Bayern this year, it'd just be another Bundesliga tie. Honestly, Dortmund would have a really good chance to win it this year if they get Bayern in the final.
Man. That'd be nuts. If this is how they lifted their Champions League trophy. That'd be ridiculous. Yeah. Josue Cinto says, I'm Barca, because I asked him earlier if he was Barca or Manchester City. So he's Barca. He's a Barca fan, but Madrid today, the performance today deserves respect.
Bro. Atletico played the same way during 2014 to 2024, and I have never once heard, I'm really glad Atleti defended today.
They deserve respect.
I've never heard that sentence. Yeah. And Madrid played the same fucking way. And all of a sudden, Madrid masterclass. Yeah. All of a sudden, Ancelotti's a genius.
Let it out, bro.
All of a sudden, Rudiger's the best defender in the world. Yep. Madrid's the best club in the world. Like,
the amount of injuries I saw from Real Madrid today, it's the same shit that Atletico did. When people call it shithousery combined with incredible defensive tactics. Yeah. People hated Atletico for that. Yeah. And Real Madrid did do that today. Let's not lie. They did do that today, and it worked out for them. But we respect it because we've always respected Atletico's. That's always been a big part of why you love that team. But we are seeing a lot of people finally give that respect, man. Yeah. Hey, don't rile yourself up too much, man. It's all right. You're good.
I'm just saying, man.
You're good, bro. You're good. Jude Bellingham, bro, that dude was all over the pitch today, man.
He's honestly one of the worst games I've seen Bellingham in a Madrid shirt. He just wasn't really active offensively at the very least.
Well, he had that crazy touch in the build-up to the goal.
It was a good touch.
That was a good touch. But,
but that's what I'm saying. Beyond the 20-minute mark, Madrid was not there.
100%. And I mean, he was all over the pitch, like literally. He kept falling like in different areas of the pitch and just wasting time. But hey, Real Madrid wins. Jude to lift the trophy at Wembley. That'd be crazy. Soltero tight, his team in the mud, says Rodrigo Idarraga. Ederson is a madman, coming on, taking a pen. Yeah, that's crazy that happened. That Ederson took a penalty in like that high stakes of a moment.
It was a hell of a pen too. Like needing a goal to keep the game alive, and he put it away beautifully. Ederson, baby.
Yeah. Isn't Champions League getting boring? If Madrid wins this year, they'll have 6 in the last 10 years. UEFA needs to change something. Also, when are the deep dives coming in for the Euros? So first off, the Champions League comment. I mean, that's why we have more tournaments, my friends. That's why we have the Europa League if you're tired of, Real Madrid winning everything. That's why you have the Europa Conference League, which is actually very entertaining last year. There's many more tournaments you can shift your eyes to if you want to get that fixed, because I understand where you're coming from. The Euros, that's coming probably next month. We're going to go all in on Copa America and Euro previews.
Yeah, stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to go incredibly deep in our dives for both the Euros and the Copa America. It's going to be an incredibly fun summer. But just to kind of comment on the Champions League, I think it's always been predictable, right? If you really think about it, money dictates everything, and it even dictates football, right? And so if Madrid, one of the biggest clubs in the world, go against a Leipzig, go against other smaller teams, I mean, they're always going to be favored to win. And the legacy that they've built, that's what Manchester City have to go against, because City don't have that legacy. So I think the predictability is something that just is. And it's just a part of the Champions League. But it's why the Europa League and the Conference League exist. So you can see different variation.
Yeah, I agree. It is kind of like that. I mean, truly, if you look at it, there only have been like 5 different winners in the past 10 years. Yeah. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it is predictable in that sense. But there's so many more tournaments that you can watch if you want to get that fix. Yeah. We have a super chat from Fernando Cruz. It has 6 likes already, too. I will be a Barca fan if Rafa Marquez becomes the head coach. How do you think he will do? Dude, I'm seeing reports. He's being favored as the next man up once Xavi leaves that position. From a Mexican perspective, this might be the most positive thing happening for the Mexican just person, not even national team. For like for Mexicans all around, if we had a Mexican, Rafa Marquez specifically, El Kaiser, guiding Barcelona, man, that'd be a crazy journey to watch. I have no idea how he will do personally because I just don't watch his coaching style at the youth level for Barcelona. But I do know that he's in the running, and I know that his footballing IQ is so high, and he was a big reason for why Mexico was so great for 20 years when we had him. So I don't doubt that he'd be a great coach. And I would hope that he'd be a great coach, but I really don't know specifically, what his strengths and weaknesses are coaching-wise.
But there's also rumors saying that Xavi might reverse his decision to leave. And I could definitely see that happening considering that Barcelona are in the best form of their club over the last 5 years. So you might be inclined to actually keep Xavi Hernandez as coach, especially considering that everyone actually has chemistry right now at Barcelona. Why would you want to lose that? I think there's a good shout for Xavi to stay.
I mean, that's like a coaching vasectomy, man. You can't you can reverse it, but what's the point of it then? What was the point of saying that he wouldn't do it? I thought that was already a predetermined thing that he agreed to do, and to stick by your guns and say, you know what, I'm out. But then to return, I don't know. I would look back on his tenure like, why did that moment even happen? Why was that even a thing? That's frustrating that your coach basically gave up for a while and then was like, you know what, I'll come back. I'm ready for a change at Barcelona personally because Xavi, the reports I saw from him yesterday, the interviews I saw where he was dying on the hill that Araujo got robbed and that it was not a red card. I know he's trying to back his team, but bro, come on, man.
Klopp does that too, though.
Not to that extent.
No,
he
does.
He gets salty, though.
Klopp's a sore loser, and I think so is Xavi.
Yeah, but I think Xavi's type of sore losing is different from Klopp's. I think Klopp's, you can tell that there's an element of emotion behind it. I think Xavi truly believes that it was not a red card. I think Klopp gets emotional.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as a coach.
All right. Well, they're both leaving hopefully this offseason. Hus Jaber says, get your money up, not your funny up. In regards to, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll take money, though, instead of funny.
Get your money up, not your funny up. Soltero, you need to apologize, boy. Rafa should coach the national team. Rafa is, I think, second or third place with Barca B team, says Jeff. We have a $5 super chat from El Rey Vélez. I always hope that it's El Reynoso Vélez. But he says, as a Barca fan, I would love Rafa Marquez as a coach. And the Rey in my name is not for Reynoso, it's for Reyes. He anticipated I was going to say that. That's fucking crazy. Reyes. Okay. Well, that's one of the lesser Ray last names, I'll say. But hey, it's fine. I respect it. Do you think Brahim joining Morocco was the right call? Absolutely. I can't believe that one of Spain's finest teams, Real Madrid, had to sub on a Moroccan to save them because I was thinking bro, this should be like Spain's next golden boy. This should be Spain's attacking midfielder for the next 5 years. But instead, he's Morocco's. And congratulations to y'all because he's going to be great for y'all.
Yeah, it's a win for Brahim Diaz's national career and a huge win for Morocco. It's a huge loss for the Spanish Federation, though, who's been so weird over the last couple of years, not ever calling up Iñaki Williams, which is insane to think about considering all that he's done for Athletic, and to not call Brahim Diaz for what he's done for Real Madrid, being a perfect utility type of player, giving everything that he can when Bellingham's injured or Rodrigo's out or Vinicius Jr.'s out. It's Brahim Diaz who has come on, and it's just a weird decision for Spain to not call him up, but a huge win for Morocco.
Yeah, huge win for Morocco, man. Angel Mirans Mijar sends us $2. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Hey, your profile picture looks sweet, man. Is that your girlfriend in that? That's a beautiful photo. That really is a beautiful photo. Hus Jaber responded. He says, in regards to teams whining about club spending, get your money up, not your funny up. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like you want to keep up. You got to get your funds up, bro.
Absolutely.
You got to.
Yeah. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. So if you lose against a team that has more money than you, then that's just the reality of things. You can't beat that. You can try.
Yeah, I think there's still an element of if you get your money up, you are likely to succeed. But you have teams like Chelsea getting their money up and their funny up at the same time because they've been so clumsy this whole year. Roger Rivera says, apology letter done, but hopefully Madrid lose. So in regards to my Dortmund apology letter, I'm planning it out. I'm scoping it out. I uploaded the TikTok, I uploaded the reel, I uploaded the live stream last night.
Yeah.
I'm going to start preparing to write my letter and to get it all ready. So, yes, that is coming soon. As for any apology letter today, we're not doing that. We agreed beforehand. We spoke about it in the preview predictions video that this does not deserve an apology letter. All it deserves is us giving credit to Real Madrid and congratulations because historic result here. Once again, showing off that footballing heritage.
Indeed.
Gilberto Godínez. That's a nice name, man. The alliteration there is beautiful. Gilberto Godínez. Mi nombre es Gilberto Godínez, man. What a name. With Man City out of the Champions League, does that give them the focus for the Premier League?
Oh, definitely. And the fact that they just got the lead this past weekend might honestly put this in the bag for them to win their 4th Premier League title. I think you could definitely consider that. But either way, it's so tight. There's still a lot of football left to be played. The Premier League title race is going to be must-watch football no matter what. It's going to be insane to see.
Yeah, I do wish that, Premier League teams would become inspired from seeing Real Madrid's performance. Real Madrid showed today that you don't even need like crazy offensive talent to beat Manchester City or get a result. Bunker in and have an organized defensive shape, and you might walk away from the Etihad with a point. They should follow that. As a Liverpool fan, I hope that teams would see that and inspire themselves instead of just bending over and letting Manchester City annihilate them. Damn, man, the chat is looking beautiful right now. Roger Rivera, hey Soltero, would you take Joao Felix back at Atletico?
No, simply because he left the team knowing that he just didn't want to be a part of it. It's not like it was a money thing. It's not like we were offloading him to try and get another player. We let him go because he did not want to be there. So I don't want a player who doesn't want to be a part of Simeone's system. All respect to him. He'll be happier at a different club, whether it's Barcelona or whether it's somewhere else. I would not take Joao Felix back at Atletico.
I wouldn't either if I was y'all, man. That train has moved on.
Yeah,
You're
it's done.
Yassine Najad, I like this message. He says Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher, Micah Richards all predicted that Madrid would lose. That goes to show you the unpredictability of the Champions League.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of knockout stage football is that if you can just get your tactics right, you'll give yourself a really good chance, even if the other team plays quote-unquote better football.
Yeah, I think on a match-to-match basis or knockout basis, the results can be tough to predict, but overall, it's usually like a group of 6 teams that win the tournament.
Yeah,
for sure. It's dangerous for other European countries. How many German players getting in form at Bayern, Stuttgart, Dortmund, and Real? Or I don't really get that message. Do you think Chelsea, who is flowing with confidence, can beat Manchester City, who are shattered right now? Is that happening this weekend? Is Chelsea Man City this week? Oh, it's the perhaps it's going to be the FA Cup final, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure when they face. Yeah, Chelsea versus Manchester City this Saturday. Man City just played 120 minutes of football. Chelsea just scored 6 on Everton, by the way. Yeah. Cole Palmer playing some.
No, that'll be a fun game. I mean, if you saw Crystal Palace and Aston Villa play against Liverpool and Arsenal, respectively, you know that there's always offensive class in the Premier League that can beat any sort of defense. So if you have an informed Chelsea, they could score against Liverpool, Arsenal, and of course they could score against Manchester City. So with a fatigued Man City, then yeah, if you're Liverpool, you're definitely hoping that comes into play.
I am absolutely hoping that it does come into play, man. And more than anything, I want to see Cole Palmer go up against his old team, a man who has tied Haaland on goals scored this season, playing incredible football. And Chelsea does seem a little bit motivated right now. I think they're on a winning streak at this moment. Their longest winning streak so far this season, like 7 games against pretty weak teams, but still nonetheless, they've gotten some momentum. I think they could really play up to Manchester City's level for 90 minutes.
Yeah, that'll be a really fun game. Also, El Clásico, Madrid against Barcelona, which is huge. Madrid playing 120 minutes. Barcelona not. Maybe they're trying to vindicate the robbery, if you will, that they had against PSG. That'll be really interesting because if Barcelona can get the result against Madrid in El Clásico, they'll cut the deficit to 5 points, which still is a margin, but it'll just make things a little bit more interesting to see out the rest of the season.
Yeah, man, that's going to be crazy. And we'll be crazier. We'll be Coachella. Because that's where you're going to be, man. That's where you're going to be.
Yeah.
While those games are happening. What else we got here? We got about 4 more minutes till we close shop up. We have Rodolfo Chavez saying that I missed the Madrid analysis. You did. Go up to the very beginning and you'll hear us talk about Real Madrid. Zaid Iqbal sounds like a soccer player. Can City be coached? How to take a penalty by Ederson? What a penalty. Can Harry Kane curse be lifted? That is true. Kane is working towards lifting that curse, man. He's working the magic behind the scenes, hoping for that juju. They're in the semifinals now. I still think, though, that he's going to end the season trophyless, personally.
I think so, too. Also, I think it's Zidane Iqbal is a
That's
Rocky footballer.
That's who I'm thinking about, man. Zidane Iqbal. Cracker Slovenian. Have you guys talked about Bayern versus Arsenal? We did. I honestly think it was a Thomas Tuchel masterclass. Sure, the scoreline isn't huge, but it talks about how important this game was. I mean, this says a lot more about Bayern than it does about Arsenal, because I thought Arsenal ultimately, in a way, choked this game away, or let the big game moment get to them. But a big part of it was Tuchel's elements, the way he tacted, the way he planned this game out, strategized it, and ultimately outclassed Arteta on the sideline, who is probably going to end another season trophyless.
It's really tough for Arsenal, but I also don't want to downplay the fact that this second leg was played, in Germany, right? And I do think that definitely helped Bayern take more control of the game, especially when Arsenal started to get desperate. It did not work in their favor, and Bayern got stronger based off of that desperation. I just don't know if Bayern would have been as in control in the same situation second leg in London. I think it would have been a little bit different. Not saying that Arsenal would have won, but I just think the control that Bayern ended the game with, I think definitely was helped by the home atmosphere.
Yeah, and I don't want to downplay these matches either, because I think all 4 quarterfinal matches were like wars, man.
Oh, they were all so tight. Yeah. One of the best, most competitive quarterfinal matchups probably in Champions League history.
Yeah.
All 4 of them were incredibly tight, so well contested. We saw some beautiful goals, very high scoring, a lot of drama, and it took a lot for the teams that went through to the semifinals to earn the right to get there. So this was very well earned from all 4 teams, and they got to take that same energy now and do it all over again for the semifinals. It's gonna be really tough to do.
I do think, man, I think the semifinal will be a little bit more, I don't want to say predictable, but probably not as chaotic as this quarterfinal was, because I really do think, like, the way these 4 matches were set up, every team came out guns a-blazing, bro. Like, every team tried their absolute best. Atletico was up in the tie at one point, man. Like, even the weaker teams had their moments, whereas usually in Champions League quarterfinals, you might have like a Benfica in there. You might have like a Porto. You might have a PSV get involved, and you just get an easy quarterfinal result. Yeah. So I don't want us to look back on these quarterfinal matches and be like, oh, Arsenal got knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Because looking at the context, this almost felt like a semifinal in certain points, man. Like, the stakes were really that much higher, and I don't think it's comparable to other Champions League quarterfinals, because what we saw this past week, I just think was incredible football from everyone involved.
Dude, so true, because consider the fact that if Arsenal had drawn Atletico, Arsenal are going to the semifinals.
Yep.
Like, that was the importance of these matchups. It was perfectly drawn for every single team and their opponent. It just worked beautifully to have 4 insanely tight matches. But you're right, usually in the past, there's always at least one matchup that would have been like a Bayern Atletico or a PSG Dortmund, something that would be a little bit more straightforward. But no, the lineups were matches made in heaven for this quarterfinals.
Yes.